What up?
Yo, what's happening, man?
Man, why your face all up in the camera? Looking like Suge Knight. Looking like Suge Knight all up in the videos.
Hey, you want to be you want to be over here with you? You ain't got no love for the West Side?
You got no love for the West Side? What's up, Pastor
What's
Jeff?
happening, man? Happy Father's Day,
Happy
brother.
Father's Day, my man.
Happy Father's Day, brother.
Hey, happy Grandfather's Day to you.
Grandfathers, fathers on the way,
Uncle,
all kind of stuff.
Jump offs,
Uncle, cousin,
Sugar Daddy. Happy Sugar Daddy Day. When is Sugar Daddy Day?
It's coming up. Don't worry about it. It's coming up.
What is Secret Uncle Day? Secret Uncle Daddy.
Work Husband Day.
Work Husband Day. Happy Work Husband. Better than Church Husband.
Right. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. We just want to start it off by celebrating all of the wonderful men out there who are operating as fathers, whether you're father, stepfather, father-in-law, grandfather, uncle, mentor, you know, the brother around the way to just look out for the kids,
absolutely.
The coaches out there, everybody who plays that role. We honor you, brothers, today. Hey, happy Father's Day to all the single mothers out there.
Woo!
I know they've been trying to silence y'all. Pastor Todd got your back.
You are not silenced anymore.
You had to be mom and dad at the same time.
You had to do it. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to raise brothers. And y'all done a phenomenal job. So guess what? Keep keeping your head up. Ooh, things are gonna get easier.
What I'm talking about. Jeff always. If Jeff can throw some death row into this show, he will do it every single. There's always some too short.
Not too short. Not too short, though.
I didn't mean it that way, but since you can relate, since you picked up on it. Hey, man, it has been a great weekend. You know, I had like 9 holidays this week.
Absolutely. I was about to say it, man. Happy anniversary. Happy birthday. Happy all everything.
Juneteenth. Hey, it's Juneteenth, bro.
You done Juneteenth. You done 12 weddings and
12 weddings. So Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. Okay, so this is something that tripped me out, Jeff. Pastor, I have never seen somebody create a holiday on like Thursday and give everybody the day off on Friday. I have never seen that in my life. It's like people needed to have real appointments at the DMV and the federal government. And they're like, nah, man. They did that to make white people hate us. That's what I think they did. They did that to make white people hate us.
They just made it federal, not national, though. It's just
and maybe they did that because they knew black people wasn't going to show up to work, so they just decided to head it off. They're like, y'all, we free. We're free.
Hey.
This bank just going to have to be closed. You just don't get to cash your check this week.
It's another one, Martin Luther King. We ain't showing up. We ain't coming to work. And, you know, now Juneteenth, we ain't coming to work. Did you get to celebrate any Juneteenth? Go anywhere?
I did. When Shamika and I was going to go down. So Shamika and I had a funny story about Cleveland. So we stayed overnight in Cleveland, went to a really nice steakhouse. I had to take a mortgage out to buy the steak. You know, I had to refinance my car and everything.
Absolutely. I know how
so
you do.
In the morning, we decided, because I dragged Jeff into one of those and didn't tell him how much it cost. So we decided to try out a black-owned business. And I will not say the name of that business, but it was supposed to be like a cafe brunch spot, a black brunch spot on the east side of Cleveland. And that should have already been our first red flag. Because we went from the Theater Gateway District.
Hey, he went over to East 90 with both thugs.
Just about. Just about. Further and further we got away. So I will not say the name of the business. But we looked it up on Yelp, and it looked pretty cool. We probably drove so far deep into the depths of East Cleveland. And then when we turned up on the street and got there, it was like a house with the front door open. And like you can see the stove. And it was like 2 picnic tables outside. I said, listen, we're going to have to celebrate Juneteenth somewhere else.
Hey, you went to McDonald's and said, give me a McJuneteenth.
They forgot that Yelp. They forgot in the Yelp reviews to tell us to bring our bulletproof vest. I'm like, you gotta. This is one of these places where you order like a slab of ribs and a Glock. You know what I'm saying? So we slowed down just enough for them to see us coming, and they thought we was gonna get out, and then we just took off because we got scared. No. So we went back over to the other side of town, but we did celebrate Juneteenth in Warren. Big ups to community concerned citizens and the Quimby Park Juneteenth celebration and the Black Business Market at RBG's. Wife and I stopped by. I got this wonderful, I don't even know the young lady's name. I bought this off of. It says Black Excellence. Bought my little niece a little shirt from my girl Alicia Alls and her babies, her twins who sell apparel. So big ups to everybody that did Juneteenth activities. Absolutely. What did you do, Pastor Jeff?
I went up to Quimby. I was looking for that. I saw it on Facebook, but I didn't know it was at RBG. Something told me to ride past RBG's because that's where everything be at.
RBG has the car wash, the meat market.
Something told me to ride past it.
They have the record store. They have a plasma center. You can donate plasma. You can get your dog spayed or neutered. You can get a RBG vasectomy.
I was also blessed and want to give a big up to Lord, why can't I? Leah, and
Leah, yeah, they did a great job.
Phenomenal job. In her business, I went there. I got some creams and some soaps, and I mean, I ain't clean it all, but
did you get some demon sage? Did you get some demon sage that the saints think is taking you to hell?
Now, I got some stuff that's supposed to clean off all the stuff off your foot. I don't got no feet no more, but
your feet fell off. You got that.
I'm just playing.
You got that Princess and the Frog. You got that Princess and the Frog.
It all worked. I love the soap. I'm going back to get some more of the soap. I love the soap.
When you open up the soap, they said, "Are you ready? Are you ready?"
I'm not clown. The last person I'm gonna clown is Leah because she gonna come after you, Doc.
Hey, listen, I already shopped with him. Hey, you know what was a really great vibe? Just to shout out Black Business. They had the record player in there. You could bring your own records and play them.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring my Purple Rain. I got my Purple Rain record LP. Prince, 1984. Never meant to cause you any problems. Never meant to cause you any pain. So I'm gonna take that back and just jam out. But yeah, big ups to Juneteenth. Yeah. Happy Father's Day. And it's just great times. Anything else going on in our world that you want to hit before we introduce our guest?
Real quick, I got a Facebook poll. All y'all out there, Jameson, Charlotte, my girl Charlotte, God bless you, Sister Mary.
Like, share.
Like and share. Listen, let me ask y'all, do y'all have a problem? And y'all can answer this question. Do you guys, women, or do you have a problem saying Happy Mother's Day or Happy Father's Day to your ex or to your baby daddy with the new person that you're with?
Oh,
is it okay? Is it okay to share a Happy Father's Day to the ex or to the ex-husband, to the baby daddy, whatever it is? Is it okay?
The actual parent of your child or just someone you know who has children?
Oh no, I ain't shitting you. I'm hoping they just somebody you know. You just ain't I'm just saying, if you had a baby in a previous relationship and you're in a new relationship.
Your new relationship.
Does the new relationship dictate that you cannot say Happy Father's Day or Happy Mother's Day to the old relationship?
I think it depends on the health of the relationship. I mean, if you're getting along and you're co-parenting pretty good, then usually you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Unless the person you're with, your new boo or bae, has a problem. But honestly, I would consider that a red flag if somebody is that hard up and you have a healthy relationship with your ex and you're making it work with the co-parenting and your new person just does not want you to even wish them a happy. Absolutely. A good father or mother is a good father, a good mother, regardless of whether or not you're together. That's my take, but I've never been in that situation, and prayerfully I won't. So one of you who have been there, y'all have to tell us.
Well, I mean, obviously, I have an ex and she wished me Happy Father's Day and I said thank you. And I wished her Happy Mother's Day. I mean,
Tiffany stabbed her. Tiffany shanked her.
Not at all. I mean,
but is Tiffany cool with it? I mean, to put your family bit.
Cool. She's cool. I mean, we co-parent. You know what I mean? We have, my daughter's grown now, so thank God. I don't have to call her. She don't have to call me. But I think it's just good. I think it shows the children that you don't have animosity and that you can still.
It's maturity, man. It's maturity, and maybe everyone doesn't start off that way, but hopefully, as people grow up, get over the feelings of however things went down initially, and move on with their lives. That's the key. If you're able to move on with your life and get something going for yourself, even if it's not relationally, you don't have to prove something to people, but at least you got something going for yourself. Buy a car from JD Byrider or something. I mean, do something. You got to your name. You don't have to obsess over that person, because we all know what it looks like when people are obsessed over what, like, if you don't love this person, why are you so, worried about them and what they're doing and what they're saying? So no, we definitely appreciate it. Hey, we want to throw our ads out before we hit our guest for the day and bring them in. So I just want to start with Phillips Care Cleaning, proud sponsors of Religiously Incorrect from the Phillips Care family of businesses, as I've come to call them. They really need to give me props for that name. Phillips Care Cleaning Service, residential and commercial. Don't waste your time. Let them do it. They do everything from floor to carpet cleaning, deep cleaning, commercial, residential buildings, move in, move out, hauling trash, Trumbull, Mahoning, and surrounding areas. They have it. I like the Al Sharpton version. We clean up the mess that causes you stress. I just love that. It sounds like something a preacher would say.
The Al Sharpton version.
That's the Al Sharpton version, So make sure you hit them up. And then Phillips Care Lawn Care. Phillips Care Lawn Care. They've been in business for over 10 years now. Listen, they are the big dogs in the city now. They didn't cast that be doing the courthouse and the housing projects, and they cutting the football field at the school and the Brown Stadium. So check them out. Lawn care starting at $30. I made that up. They don't have those contracts, but they do spring, fall cleaning, mowing, edging, trimming, lawn mowing. Check them out on Facebook at Phillips Care LLC, or call my man Fernando at 330-219-7916. So we thank you, and we'll hit up our last one later on with our sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor of Religiously Incorrect, send us an email or an inbox and let us know that you'd like to be a sponsor. And we'd be happy to spread your brand, your name, your business to millions. I mean, our viewers
watching this show.
HBO is calling. Netflix wants us. We're about to go on SpaceX with Jeff Bezos and and Elon Musk. So listen, you want to get on this train, because we're going to the moon. That's what we say in investing.
It's the money train, baby.
To the moon. You know what? We need to start Ripcoin. Everybody's starting to coin. We need to start Ripcoin.
Ripcoin. Here it comes.
Because apparently, if you start a coin, you can get people to buy it. So we'll say that for another story. We have to come back to investing, but I want to introduce our guest, Jeff. Man, this is my main man, one of my best friends, like a brother to me on several levels. And that's saying no less of you and Tone and Ted but this brother's coming to my life. He has made a huge splash in our area. I'm talking a story of overcoming, a story of faith, a story of hard work. And you know what we call it, Jeff?
It's the grind.
The grind, man. The grind.
Man.
The name of our episode is called The Grind. And our very special guest is the one and only mogul himself, Terrill Vidale. Give it up, Rip Nation, for Terrill Vidale. What's up, man?
What's going on? I'm loving it, man. You guys have me crying the whole
Come on, give it to me one time. The grind. Come on, Terrill, give it to us.
Come on, man. The grind.
This cat will call me at 2:00 in the morning talking that loud.
The grind, man. The grind.
Talking that loud. Hey, we got a testimony. Mark Raines got a testimony. He said, I heard Elder Vidale shout at the Saints at New Bethel. Listen, Elder Vidale, Bishop Vidale, he said all to say it. He said, before I take my seat, he said, and in my clothes, I got 3 points.
I learned from the best, man. I learned from the best.
All he was missing was say yes.
He gonna get it. He gonna get it.
He gonna get it. He gonna tune up. He gonna tune up. Terrill, man, how you feeling?
I'm blessed, man, and I'm really excited to be on the show today. And I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to be speaking with you guys. And I've literally been laughing the entire time. I mean,
hey, that's what we're here for. Well, this is Sunday night service, man.
Sunday
night service.
That's what we call it.
And we come to chop it up. Go ahead, Pastor.
Let's get it started off. TV Terrill. Listen, you have a phenomenal story, man. We want you to give us a little bit of your story, man. We want you to do it as succinctly as possible.
Yeah, don't give me the sermon version because it took you like 50 minutes at New Bethel. He definitely went Baptist on us. Don't give us that.
Succinctly as possible. That just means is as in many words as possible, as few as necessary.
Few as necessary.
Few as necessary. Give us the version of where you've been and where you are, man.
Got it. So basically the Cliff Note version. I got you. And hey, I definitely did not do the pastor. No way. But it was fun. But basically just to tell you a little bit about my story. So I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago. My first 13 years of life was overseas. So my mom and dad, I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. My mom and dad was in college. And so they both were Trinidad, and then we moved back. So my mom and dad got a divorce. And my mom was at Youngstown State University. So when she was at Youngstown State University, when my mom and dad got divorced, all the kids, normally go stay with the mom. So me, my older brother, my two younger siblings lived with my mother. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you come to the United States, you have to first get a visa to be here. But then when you have a visa, you have to have a work visa to actually work. So my mom had a student visa to go to Youngstown State University. She was doing work study, and you don't make $1 million doing work, working at work study. So when my siblings came up, that's when things really started going bad. So when things started going bad, she was living at 4100 Hillman Way. She was living by herself, doing work study. But now you have 4 kids, Trinidadian, doing work study. So let's just say that it was a very stressful time and going through a divorce after, many years of marriage. So we moved into the Beatitude House, which is a homeless shelter for mothers and their children, for people that don't know what that is. So, those were the times, very, very dark times in my life. Young parents just broke up, don't know why they broke up, just got evicted, mother stressed out of her mind. And now, being at the Beatitude House and, walking to school every day. And now today's Father's Day. And it's kind of crazy because my father's not in my life at all. And it's funny because, people were asking me, hey, do you talk to your father today? I'm like, how do I talk to my father this decade? I mean, it's just crazy, right. So it's just wild. So, and just like I said, at church, people come into your life, and Reverend Simon, Wendy Simon, and all these people came into my life that helped change my life. And fathers are just so important. And a lot of people, and I was literally saying to my wife that fathers don't get enough credit. In Mother's Day, all the restaurants are packed.
Listen,
we walked into a restaurant today.
Preach, elder.
No wait. And I'm like, how do you not have a wait on Father's Day? But when you go on Mother's Day, there's a 3-hour wait. It just doesn't make sense. I just think that fathers, they don't get the gratitude that they deserve, because fathers do so much. They carry so much weight on their shoulders. And, it's crazy because, and no offense to mothers, it's just that, when something happens with the mother, they cry and run to the father. But when something happened to the father, he just got to sit down and figure it out. So,
right.
So, yeah. So basically, with those people coming in my life, Reverend Simon taught me the fundamentals. He's the reason why I came to Christ. He's the one who gave me pretty much the rules, like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, all the manners, everything was from him. Going to church was from him. So I learned a lot through him, and then also going through life. I started getting some different mentors that helped me, and I knew at a young age that I didn't know everything. The person that thinks he knows it all knows nothing. So I just sought after wise advice in my life, because I didn't really have a father. So since I don't say really, I didn't have a father. He was very absent in my life. So I had to go and search for people to pour into me, and search for other people or other mentors, where some people, they just turn to their father. But when he's not there, you have to search in other places. So I read a lot of books, a lot of personal development along the way. And, then we just started working. And I think that I try to have a mind of Nehemiah, and try to really focus on working. And, I just told myself, and I'm not saying this negatively, And from my parents' perspective, a lot of people learn from their parents, what to do. Where in my situation, if I learned from my parents what not to do.
Absolutely.
So I still learned. I just learned in a different way, if that makes sense. So, I learned that, hey, the way I want my marriage to be, the way I want my kids to be, how I'm going to be as a father, how I'm going to be. So I learned a lot along the way. And, and here we are, from the grace of God. And it was a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, a lot of things that I've learned. I bumped my head, scraped my knees. And it's crazy because when you look back at it, and I talked about that on last Sunday, that when you're going through it, sometimes we for what we're praying for, and when God don't give it to us when we want it, we get mad, and then 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we get something better, and then we fix our lips to thank God for it. But then we were just cursing God, 2, 3 years ago, saying that He didn't give us what we wanted. So, I've learned so much from a standpoint of it's all His time, where before, when I was younger, I wanted everything now. And I think that's what goes on in society today with the microwave society, saying we want everything now, where I learned that everything's a process. And now I'm willing to go through that process. And I think if we all just, come to terms, say a kumbaya, say a prayer, and just come to terms that it's going to take time, I think we would all be in a better place. So that's how I live my life now, where I always say, you know what, this is what I want. And it all depends on when that's going to happen. And I know that it's going to happen if God wants it to happen. I just wanted to have it in His time. So, and, here we are, 33 years old. And it's crazy because when I was 18, I made a bucket list, and I found it maybe about 3, 4 years ago. And I started going through all the stuff that I wanted to do. And, I thought that a lot of the stuff I'd be doing when I was 60, 70. And, I pretty much, it's only like 2 things left on my bucket list I want to do.
It's like go to Mars. He wants to go to Mars and be the president.
Crazy. So I had like literally 60 things I wanted to get done, in my life.
58 things done.
He got all that done. He got all that done. He's discovered a new mineral. He's talked to aliens.
Now, let me just say this, because Terrill's he's being very nice.
He's been very modest.
Very modest, y'all. Listen, Terrill basically said, you know what? He was looking for a house. Said, give me the house closest to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I want a house to look like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
He said, give me the Uncle Phil. I'd like the Uncle Phil, please.
And that's how he rolling, y'all. That's how he rolling.
No,
we're going to brag for you, bro. We're going to brag for you now.
But you know what? You're blessed, and I feel that you're managing it well at your age. We know what it's like when you're young, and I want to talk about being successful as a young man, because, one of the dynamics that I've run into, and it's funny, we just had a conversation in pre-show, and when you're that guy, and whatever, you've had the bumps, which obviously people never see the bumps, they never see the no's, they never see the failures and all of that stuff, but they do see you getting the attention, prospering a little bit, in your case, working deals and getting some things happening, and your ups and downs are both public, of course, because that's what happens. How do you handle that as a young person? Because some people despise just the fact that, like, oh, he's just so out there. You shouldn't be getting so much so young. You're not ready for that. You're not wise enough. This and that. How do you handle and try to balance yourself in that reality?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Pastor Todd. And to be transparent with you, when I was praying, and I know that sounds weird, but because everything's all about with me.
Not to us, Doc. Not to us.
We like that type of talk.
Right.
Yeah. So with me in my life, everything has to be centered by God. So when I was going through everything, and when I started my business back in 2013, so let's go back. So when I started my business, it made me angry, because when someone in the African-American community say they're starting a business, you would think that people would cheer and people would want to get behind you. But it's weird that they will support someone getting out of prison more than they will support someone who said they're starting a business. It's unbelievable to me.
Wow.
So, when I thought, I thought, it was going to bring people together, where the exact opposite happened. So I got a lot of opposition when I'm starting an entertainment business in Youngstown. Everyone thought I was crazy, and they said, "This is not Miami or LA." And those type of things started happening. And then even in my family, when I started my business at my little sister's bedroom. I moved back in with my mother. And those are all the sacrifices that you got to make if you want to be successful. And people are going to make fun of you. So at the very beginning, I kind of had to get thick skin from the very beginning. So when so many people were making fun of me, when so many people weren't really behind me, I think that I got to the point where it didn't matter because dogs don't bark at parked cars. So I said, you know what? I got to make sure I'm not a parked car.
Preacher. So hey, you're giving all kind of nuggets, man. I'm about to have you in revival. You're about to be in revival. I love it. I love it, though. Keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, and with me, I looked at it as, and it's funny because I say this all the time where I tell people you got to get your nose up. And people are like, I don't understand what you mean. Where with me, I got okay with being told no. And I think a lot, that's what helped me along my way, where a lot of people are scared to be told no. So I said, you know what, if I want to go and be successful, I have to get the most no's out of anybody else, because that means I'm talking to the most people. So if I'm going to get the most no's, that means I'm going to get the most yeses. So in 2013, I just went out, and it's funny, because when I was calling people and doing different things, it's almost like I was waiting for the no. But then people started saying yes. And it was kind of like, what? Right. And then, and that's kind of where, with me, at the very beginning on the onset, I had to deal with that in 2013. So now it just got easier, because more and more successful you become, it's easier and easier when people say something to you, because you already know who you are. I already knew who I was a long time ago. So when I started 2D, I got it from Footprints in the Sand. And when you see one set of footprints, that's when God carried you. So really 2D stands for God and I, where we were always together. So with us always being together, I knew that it didn't matter what, people was going to say or do. And all these people were talking about me and this and that. And they still do. I mean, they still do. Right. But right. And it kind of makes me laugh, because I always say, why do people compare themselves to me when I'm a nobody? Compare yourself to Jay-Z. Compare yourself to, Oprah. And that's the thing about it, where a lot of people stick their focus on the wrong things. So I just think a lot of people is just focused on the wrong things, where they may, I always say everybody wants my glory, but nobody wants to take my story. So, and that's the thing about it, where it's always a story behind everyone. But I think once you become who you are as a person, and you know who you are, where, I look at it as, I don't need no army. I don't need no crowd. I'm me. So I don't need anybody. So I looked at, hey, let's make this happen. Let's do it. And, here we are.
I want to just in part, before Jeff jumps in, and I know, Big Mike wants to make sure that we talk about exactly what you do and like what kind of spaces you're in as far as industry. But I want to say about coming up and as a young person, and I'm probably going to speak on this publicly because I usually try stuff out on the podcast first and I post about it later. But honestly, people need to know that sometimes we come up as young men. I don't care if it's church. I don't care if it's in the community, trying to do good work, trying to start a business. And we're often fed a lot of stories and told about our potential and told the sky's the limit, told where we come from, how hard our elders had it. And sometimes it's the older ones we look up to who disappoint us the most by being discouraging, even if they don't realize it, And I'm like, you dude, not, and I love what you said, Terrill, I know who I am, but honestly, you are really disappointing me, because you told me that I could be anything I put my mind to. You told me that our elders suffered and bled so that I could have an opportunity. And now I'm out here grinding, trying to make it happen and trying to make an impact. And it might not be the way you're doing it. And honestly, some of the biggest opposition, and I don't want to say hate, but older people can hate too. And sometimes you don't understand why. It's like, I'm trying to make you proud. Like I'm trying to keep this legacy going of the people whose shoulders we stand on. And, we talked about it before we went live, like people, are you doing too much, or why you got to do it all? How come you got to have your head? Like, hey, you told me that the sky's the limit and you wanted me to apply myself, and here I am. And unfortunately, sometimes I don't think some of the older ones, and maybe they mean well, sometimes, folk just be talking. They don't know that what they're saying is actually not so much discouraging, because, here's what we do, Terrill. We start off discouraged, and after a while, we just start ignoring. And that's even worse, because we're like, you know what? You're not really on my side. Anyway, every time I turn around, I hear that somebody said something funky about me behind my back, or you didn't jumped on another side. So if I don't start kissing your tail anymore, and I decide to just do my thing, don't get mad, because honestly, it's your loss not being connected to a generation that's trying to make it. And I just feel like I'm trying, and maybe I won't do as well as I should, but I'll try to not be that person who boosts up a person before they become something and then try to knock them down as soon as they do become something. Because when I was the organist, everybody was telling me what a great preacher, you're going to be a great minister, you're going to be this. But that was because I was on somebody's organ. As long as I was playing organ for somebody, the sky was the limit. Now that I'm preaching, now that the church is doing decent, now that I'm getting work and doing things in it, now why he got to be all up in the meetings? Why he got to be on the news? Dude, you prayed over me. You the one that said you're gonna be Dr. T.A. Johnson and all that stuff. So I love what you said about knowing who you are, because it's funny. Some people will help you discover who you are, and then they'll often be the very people you have to ignore to keep being who you are.
Amen.
To continue
Absolutely.
That's good.
I agree. Absolutely agree. And I want to just touch on real quick what you're saying. And it really goes back to limitations. A lot of people are limited in, and I'm not saying that they're not blessed, but your blessing is different than their blessing. So someone who's able to multitask and get things done faster than maybe another person, then they take their limitations and put them on you. And that's when they say, oh, you're doing too much. Where to them, in their mind, you're doing too much because they can't do what you do. But in reality, to you, you're thinking to yourself, like, I'm not doing enough. And that's where I'm at. It's crazy. It's crazy because when people come to me and say, when I wake up in the morning and I'm talking to my wife, to me, I feel like, Terrill, you're being so lazy. Like, what are you doing? Why are you waking up so late? Like, what? You're not being as productive as you need to be. And then you have other people on the other side saying, like you're saying, you're doing too much. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So, and I understand where you're coming from, but it's really sad that, and it's wild that the people that you look up to and was gearing you on, and really what it is that now you became competition. And that's really what it is that before that you were just, oh, there's that young boy, oh, there's that young guy, but now and it's funny because, I was bidding on a building, a building, and literally all the who's who was there. Everybody was there. And it's so funny because people are looking at me and I'm bidding, bid. And now it's going up. And, everyone's looking at me like, who is this guy?
Right.
It really made me laugh because, and it's funny because the people that ended up getting was bad because they thought I bid them up, and the building ended up going for over 7 figures. And it made me laugh because, everyone's there. And before you were just a young kid just having fun, but now I'm the kid that's now bidding against all of you guys. So now you're no longer the young kid anymore. We got to get this kid out the way.
We got to get this kid out the way. Right. So I don't know, Pastor Jeff, you have something you want to add to the discussion?
I just want to add in it. Well, add to that, first of all, that, you need to be around people who are willing to challenge your limitations.
Right.
Not just struggle with you, but I say all the time that, you talked about a lot, Pastor Todd, about the sky's the limit. But truth be told, I heard, little secret that somebody done landed on the moon. So why are we talking like that? What I'm saying? But I wanted to talk to you, Terrill, because, so often I think it's just very honorable and admirable. You talk about the struggles that you've been through, and you talk about the fact that how your wife was there with you. And how your wife has stayed there with you. And, we just want to give some props, first of all, to Sister Ashley, who's just such a wonderful.
That's Evangelist Vidale.
It's just a lot of people who refuse to stay with you while you're a caterpillar until you turn into the butterfly. So Amen. I just want you to, just talk about that for a minute. And what part does your wife play in all that you do? And I mean, I know she has her, she's just graduated. She's doing great things. I think she's a nurse, whatever she is. I know she's doing something with nurses over at the school.
She owns all the nurses. She owns the nurses. She owns all the nurses in Youngstown.
That's funny. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's backtrack. So now with my wife Ashley and all the people that in my life, and with me, I'm one of those people where I don't forget, because a lot of people look at the people that's around them when things are going well. And I always say it's easy to be with me now. It's easy, like it's crazy when I go places. And I don't mean this disrespectful to them, but I'm everybody's cousin all of a sudden. I'm everybody's boy.
Right.
I'm like, I don't even know who you are. How
you remember me, dog? You remember me, dog?
Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And that's the thing where everybody wants to claim something that they see or look at success. Where with me, I look at, who's around me way back when. And if you see, I don't travel in large groups. If you ever see me, it's me, Ashley, and myself. You never see me with 10 people or 100 people. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, I stick with the people that was with me when I first started. I don't change up. And as time go on, you meet new people, you talk to new people, you do things with new people. But at the end of the day, I've learned that, and I know this sounds terribly, and this goes back to answering your question. A lot of people do not like adversity. And I know this sounds bad, but I wish adversity in every one of my relationships, because in the face of adversity, that's where true character is formed. So with me, I want adversity. I want adversity because then I know where you stand with me.
Correct.
And in that adversity, I could tell, hey, like for example, with Pastor Todd, he's one of my brothers. I love that brother. And you know what? In the face of adversity, when things go crazy, guess what? He stands on his own. I don't like people. I do not like fence huggers. I don't do fence huggers. I don't do people front runners. I don't do those. If you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, just let me know. And so with Ashley, when we first started, Ashley used to say all these things to me. And the problem is the world has made me jaded when I first got with Ashley, to keep it all the way 100. Because I was engaged one time before and that didn't work. Then I got in another relationship trying to fix all the things that I messed up in the first relationship with, thinking that, but at the end of the day, that failed. So now I came out of 2 failed relationships and they were saying all these different things to me. And the thing is, I believed them, but then they were lying. And that's the thing. The world, I don't know, it sounds terrible, but the world are liars. The world will lie to you.
You're telling the truth, Doc. Preach to the chillins. Tell them kids. Tell them about life.
The world will lie to you.
You sound like an old church mother.
Yeah, so when Ashley came into my life, I thought that she was saying all the things that I wanted to hear, but the problem was I wasn't receiving it because I was so jaded. So now when she was saying all these things, talking all these things, and then, I was still like, oh, whatever, I'm still going to do whatever. And I just wasn't there mentally. I had to get my mind right to understand. So then, when I got my mind right, I said, oh my God, this is a great woman. She really meant what she said. And not only that, that was the adversity, right? So in that face of that adversity, Ashley still stood there. And anytime I needed something, she was there. So let me give you a story. For example, my car stopped working. My Hummer, it needed a transmission. I didn't have the money for the transmission because I put all my money in the business. So I literally had no money. So now Ashley was taking me everywhere, where she was my Uber before Uber even existed. So now she's driving me to meetings. She's driving me to the airport before class. My wife is a nurse practitioner now. I met her when she was in college. She had an 8 o'clock class. I had to be at the airport at 5. She would wake up at 3:30 in the morning, take me to the airport, and then go to class and have a full day of class. So she was with me and through all of that. So a lot of people see all the stuff I do for Ashley, but at the end of the day, how I look at it is she's reaping the rewards of what she's done for me along the way.
That it is.
So at the end of the day, I look at it and I told her, and it's so crazy. I remember and the thing is, when I met Ashley, I was at my mom's house, in my sister's bedroom. And to the outside world, I didn't have a job, because when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a job. And everyone say, hey, he's doing that thing. That little thing, right? It's so funny. That little thing.
That little thing you're doing.
Yeah, that's what it was. That little thing. and then, my car's not working. So now I don't have a job, I don't have a car, and I'm living with my mama. How many people do you know or parents would say, hey, I want you to marry that guy?
Hey, Terrill. Hey, Terrill, you mentioned all the people I told him not to marry today in church. I said, if you meet a guy with no job, living with his mama, with no car, hey, go check the tape. I literally said, don't marry that guy. Don't marry Terrill Vidale 10 years ago.
That was me. That was definitely me. But this is the difference, though. I had a vision. So a lot of those people that you're talking about just didn't have a vision. They're lazy.
You're right. They wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, so it's a difference. So, with me, it was by choice because I took all my money and invested in the business. And I didn't take any money out for years. And a lot of people don't I could have subsidized my lifestyle long before I actually did it. Where with me, I told myself I never want to be broke another day in my life. I told myself I never want to go through the things that I went through another day in my life. So, with Ashley, with all the stuff along the way. And I remember in 2015, I met Ashley when she was 20. And so I met her 5 years before we actually got married. So on her 25th birthday or whatever, it's when we actually got engaged 5 years ago, because she's actually about to be 30. So when I met her when she was 20, she said, hey, when she turns 25, she wants to do this big birthday party, right? This big birthday party. She wanted to do this masquerade ball, all of this jazz. So in reality, I looked at that as, oh, okay, whatever. Because remember, when I got with Ashley, my mind wasn't like, I'm going to be with this girl 5 years from now. I was like, shoot, I'm trying to kick it with this girl. And hey, let's see how this goes for the next 6 months. That's where my mind was. my mind wasn't there. I'm going to be with this girl 5 years from now. So she was talking about this, talking about it. But my mind wasn't there. So then, after when we got to the 5 year mark, I was like, oh my God, I'm still with this girl.
Right. And I owe her a party.
I'm like, I can't believe I'm still with this girl. And the thing is, and it's wild because she's been with me through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the bad and the ugly was at the beginning. And with me, I always say that's why we're so strong now, is because a lot of times the good is at the beginning and then it becomes bad, then it becomes ugly.
That's good. Yeah.
With me, it was bad, then ugly, and then good. So everything, I swear to you, everything that you could have done wrong in your life, I've done it. Everything. Right. So I've learned that, all the stuff that happened in my life got me prepared for where I'm at. And it goes back to what you're saying, Pastor Todd, is that I'm thankful. And of course, I was embarrassed going to school because, for example, I lived at the Beatitude House. I went to Urson High School from a blessing. We used to do a canned drive. So I know people get the perishable goods, right, at school. The perishable good drive, literally 100% of those cans
went to you.
The Beatitude House.
It went to you.
It went to the Beatitude House.
They were giving you the cans in the classroom. They were giving you. They were like, hey, we're not even gonna put this in the box in the hallway. Let's just give Terrill these green beans right now.
It was all in his big bag. He put that because everything in the box.
Exactly. So literally, I used to take cans out of our cupboard, put it in the box, and go back across the street and take the same can. Dude, it's crazy the stuff that I've been through in my life. Yeah, we're laughing about it right now, but can you think as a kid how embarrassing that is? Like, all these people are donating these cans. Also, with walking to school every day, all those different things. So, I mean, it's wild, man. It's wild.
Yeah. So I want to shift the conversation and talk about not just your grind, but the grind in general. And, Juneteenth, there's been a lot of talk, including going back a year with Black Lives Matter. And thankfully, and this is a good thing, there's been a lot more talk about being entrepreneurs, being business people, owning our own, working for ourselves. And that's a good thing. I think the problem is a lot of people like the idea of it, but don't understand what it really takes, and don't always understand, like you said at the beginning, and Fernando co-signed, and we know how hard he works in Trumbull County with the businesses, how much you have to do to really make this work, and not just the devotion, but the excellence. doing things well, doing things professionally, and you have mentors, and some people have them and don't tap into them. And I want to talk about Black business. Now, your business now, well, I know you did banking, you did finance, you did other things, but you really got into Too Deep Entertainment and doing entertainment, doing concerts, doing promotions, working with artists, working with HBCUs and PWIs. For those that don't know what that is, that's predominantly white institutions. So, you know, and I remember helping you write out some of the prompts and the scripts and going over how do we market this and make it look good and all that. And then you got into real estate. Am I correct? You know, and you're into real estate and owning property and working deals and how that begins. You know, we hear these phrases on Facebook, residual income and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, that's a real thing if you do it right. But let's talk about the Black business world. We're not here to put anybody down, but we're here to talk about the realities. What are some of the mistakes you see, some of the good things maybe, and some of the bad things you see with people who want to get in business, and whether it's customer service, whether it's having a business plan, whether it's the way they invest or don't invest in their business, how they present themselves? What do you see as benefits and detriments to going into business, particularly in the Black community? What do you see some of the things?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great question, because it makes me angry, because the first problem that I have is that everything costs money. We need to get out of this mentality that, oh, we could get all this stuff for free, or, you know, we can do it all ourselves. I don't do things myself. I have an attorney. And my thing is, if you want to quack like a duck, if you want to be a duck, you have to act like a duck and quack like a duck. And people say, oh, I want to open up a business, right? But the thing is, a lot of times you're not willing to take the steps to do so. For example, you know, PPP came out. A lot of Black businesses could not get PPP money because they don't do payroll. So the reason why they don't do payroll is
legally, by the way, legally, they didn't get the money legally. Yeah,
they didn't get the money legally. Well, that's
some of them got the money.
Going to jail for that. We've been going to jail for that. So the time's going to come, and I pray for you that doesn't happen to you. But the reality of it is, we try to shortcut things. As the Black community, we refuse to do things the right way, or try to. And not when I say the right way, I look at it. We'll do things 75% right, but the 25% is very, very crucial when you want to take things to the next level. If you want to take things to the next level, for example, you want to go out to a bank and you're like, hey, these banks keep turning me down. And a lot of people blame the bank. But with me, when I first started and I was going to go to approach a bank, I looked at it as, I need to make sure and that the bank can't deny me. Where we go out and say, hey, we present this stuff. So I looked at it like, okay, the bank is going to look for 3 C's, which is character, my credit. I need to make sure my credit is so strong that it's impeccable. The second thing is that they look at the cash flow, where a lot of people don't put all their documentation together of how they make money, where they go out and they talk about it. But you need to put what you're saying on paper so a bank could understand it. And you need to make it so simple, where a lot of us Black people think that bankers know our business. They don't know. They don't know your business. So you literally need to make it like it's a 3rd grader reading this. So you need to make it so simple that they understand it. And then the third thing is collateral. A lot of times, a lot of Black people, we don't want to give up nothing. We don't want to give up. We want to get $1 million, but we don't want to give the bank nothing. But in reality, if you are willing to give a little bit, the bank's going to be willing to come and meet you where you're at. And that's the thing about it, where I think that if we're able to become way more structured, for example, when you go into a bank, they ask you for a balance sheet, income statement. They ask you who's your CPA. And please don't say H&R Block.
Right.
Like
Jackson Tax Service, Jackson Hewitt. Roscoe at the red and white.
Like, I'm not saying that in a negative way, but what I'm trying to say, as soon as the bank hears that, that's not something the bank wants to hear. They want to hear someone you're dealing with. Then they say, well, who's your attorney? You know, they want to know who's your professionals, who you're dealing with, who are these people that's representing you. that all plays a role in what you're trying to accomplish. You go to the bank and ask for $100,000. You don't have attorney. You don't have accountant. You don't have your paperwork. You don't have all your ducks in a row. But then you get mad because the bank says no.
Right. And you're so right. The victim mentality, which we know that systemic issues exist. We know that there have been real barriers against Black businesses. But the fact of the matter is, many of our cases are weak because we can't show discrimination sometimes in cases where we really had our ducks in a row. A lot of stuff, and pastors run into this obviously because people call us and say the bank did me wrong, the school board did me wrong, the police department, and then we have to dig deep before we start shouting from the rooftops to find out if this story is really straight. Then you call Huntington and you go out there picketing, and Huntington's like, they got a 400 credit score, they owe us $200,000, they defaulted on 3 loans, and we sitting out here trying to play Martin Luther King Johnson over here and stuff. And you're so right. And you know what? The cutting corners and the not understanding professionalism, it doesn't just start when you're going to the bank for $100,000. It starts when you're starting out of your garage in your house.
Correct.
When you're one of my cousins who's doing a phenomenal job. I've supported so many people with the Black business market, but we had a little debate online about pricing and stuff like that. Like if you have products for sale, and they said, does it hurt you when people say, yo, I got Father's Day baskets for sale? And you're like, oh, okay, cool. How much? Well, inbox me. Inbox you. Where's your storefront at? Where's your price list? Where's your website? I mean, that kind of stuff literally costs you $20 a month to have. It doesn't even cost you anything. And so many people, and they have great products, great minds, great talent, but they don't know how to package themselves and professionally. And then they get mad because, listen, just because you're Black does not mean I'm going to buy from you if your business is not on the up and up. And no, I'm not saying you have to be the $1 million person, you have to be rich. And some people play that victim where they didn't support me till I got big. No, you were never professional. You didn't have, I tried to do it. I bought the t-shirt. The words were crooked. You know what I mean? You weren't communicating. I called to get my wife's hair done. You in there eating chicken and frying chicken and selling dinners and had her sitting on a table or something. It's like, you got to present yourself at the level that you want to be taken. Absolutely. And if you want to do ghetto level business, you will always be at ghetto level business. If you want to do corporate level business, like you said, you got to become that corporate duck. You got to become. And by the way, Terrill, talk about this. It's not being a sellout when you learn the lingo and the way to operate and make moves outside of your community. Because some people think that if you make connections and learn how to sit in the boardroom and learn how to sit in the bank, that now you're some kind of, Uncle Tom, or you're some kind of sellout and you're not real anymore. But that's where the real business is done. The real business is not done on the corner. Correct. It's not done even in the church basements.
Correct.
It's done in somebody's conference room.
Absolutely.
It's done in some attorney's office, a golf course. It's done at those cocktail parties that we don't want to go to because we think they all bougie. And we're missing out on the opportunity to connect. So talk about what it means to move outside of our community. Like now you got to step your level up in how you communicate and who you engage with.
Oh, absolutely. So I wanted to touch on something very important at what you said. So when as African Americans, we're already viewed as less than. Mm-hmm. So we're already stereotyped in a certain way. And I know that sounds bad, but that's the reality. We're living in a world that when people view as an African American, a Black-owned business, that they are going to be sloppy. And it's up to us to make sure that we're not sloppy. So that's the first thing. And to answer your question, a lot of people, okay, let me break it like this. Let me break it down like this. When you want to go catch a fish, you go to the pond. You go where you find fish. A lot of times people in business have clients that are potential clients or potential people that they want to go and sell their product or service to, but they don't go in the right areas. And that's really what you're talking about. You know what? A lot of times, a lot of us will go and play Fortnite. But the thing is, when we're playing Fortnite, that is not getting us that next deal. We need to figure out, okay, where's the next deal going to be? And it goes back to investing, right? You're talking about, hey, I've been to charity function that's $500 a ticket. And people are like, why would you spend $500 on one ticket? It costs $1,000. But the thing is, and this is what's crazy. I went when $1,000 was like $1 million to me. Like, it's crazy because I didn't have that type of money. And sometimes you have to make that sacrifice because it's so crazy, because the people that's paying that is the people you need to be talking to.
There it is.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Yep. You need to be in that room. You need to be in that room.
It's crazy. And that's the thing. And this is what's so wild. A lot of people price it that high to get the fakes out the way.
Come on.
Literally,
Tell the truth, Terrill. Tell the truth. Hey, I see Mike want to come in right now. Mike want to come in right now on that one. But you're right. They price
you're weeding yourself out. You're weeding yourself out, and they're doing that on purpose, and you are allowing them to do it.
Sure. Sure.
And it's so crazy that we're like, we'll never go to that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dog, presidents, CEOs, vice president, the governor, all these people are there. You're telling me you can't come with $500 to go do that? Well, something is wrong with you. And I'm going to pay the $500.
Because they'll buy some J's though. They'll buy some custom J's though for $500.
Unbelievable.
They'll get that Miami trip. They'll hit that Miami trip. Get that weave. Get that $200 haircut.
And we want to know what's even funnier. And this is also, and I'll say that this is me, and I've used this to my benefit. And I know this sounds kind of weird, but when I go and I get all their cards, right, I'll call them 2 days later, and they'll say, yeah, but, and literally this is what I say. I'll say, hey, I was the black guy that was talking to you. Because there are about 3 black people there.
Right. You can only be 1 or 3. And they remember, and trust me, they remember you. They remember you out of the 3.
So I'm like, I'm the young black kid. You're like, oh yeah, I love talking to you, man. When do you want to get a cup of coffee? It's always a cup of coffee, by the way. When do you want to get a cup of coffee? When do you want to get a cup of coffee?
Panera bread. It's always Panera bread.
I don't even drink coffee, which is so funny. Right. And I'm like, yeah, let's get some coffee.
Right.
So to go back with what you're saying, I mean, you have to put yourself in the right place. And I'll give another example. But in our business, I am so tired of people that saying, hey, you know what? I want you to support me.
Thank you.
I am selling a product and service. I want you to purchase my product or service.
Because it's worth purchasing. Because it's worth purchasing.
People need to understand the difference between buying and purchasing and supporting. They're two different things. And a lot of times I am so mad when people go on a rant on Facebook saying that, oh, why are you not buying my $300 soap or whatever it is? My problem is that stop saying, if you make your whatever product, insert it there. So good. And it brings so much value. Someone will pay whatever. Because if the value is there, it's kind of like, why do some people buy, a Ferrari and some people buy name whatever car there? The thing is, they see the value. And that's the key. Don't focus on the price, focus on the value. Where with me, I'm not so focused on, hey, am I the cheapest? Because I tell people all the time, I am not the cheapest. I let it be known up front. In my entertainment business, in my real estate business, in any type of business that I'm in, I always say I'm not the cheapest. So they know up front I'm not. But the thing is, I tell them the value is going to be worth it. So yes, I might be $500 more. Or I might be, but guess what? When you call me, I return your call. When you email me, I return your email. After hours, I still respond. Those are the things that's going to get you. So with me, when people say, hey, my price is this, I always say, hey, is the value there? So, I mean,
let's unpack that support thing because, I think that's a mentality that we see often in impoverished communities is that we unwittingly attach what should be in the business space to what is in the charity space. And we start looking at, the first day, grand opening, I hope my family and my friends come support me.
Right.
But my business is not based off
family and friends.
My cousins coming back to buy my soap every week, and then I get mad if they don't buy my soap. And so we limit ourselves to a very small market because everybody in my church didn't come. If you depend on everybody in your church to come buy your stuff, and that's the way you stay in business, then you're in the wrong business. Secondly, you're poisoning the well because you're looking unprofessional by getting on and ranting about what's not working, who didn't buy dinners from you this week, how come they didn't buy your t-shirt. Then you're upset when people are in your space as if more than 2 people in the city can't sell hamburgers or t-shirts.
Exactly.
I don't never hear, I mean, outside of a joke or a campaign or whatever, you don't ever hear McDonald's like mad that Burger King exists. You don't hear, you know, Chipotle mad that hotheads exist. Like, people will literally get on Facebook like, oh, I was making candles last year and now 2 other people are making candles. I see how y'all doing. I see how y'all doing. And so we need to be expanding, like you said, learning how to market. Not even, we live in the internet age. You need a digital storefront, especially if you're selling a physical property, a physical product that you can ship anywhere, or a service where you can fly anywhere and perform it. Instead of worrying about if everybody on in your block, you need to be looking at the world as your marketplace. Just like we found out with Facebook, with ministry, Pastor Jeff, the whole world is our congregation now.
Absolutely.
If you're preaching well enough, if you're platforming, we know that there are levels to this. Everybody's not going to be mega TD Jakes. Everybody's not going to be Jay-Z, but you could be far beyond where you are if you stop thinking so small and playing the blame game and that toxic, like, and I'm so glad you said that. And we were talking about, you support charities, you support churches. We talked about this, Terrill. You support nonprofits. You buy from businesses.
Correct.
You purchase products. And the funny thing is, when you start mixing up support with charity, now people act like the hair shop is the church, and you donating at the hair shop and you donating at the church, and then you mad at the church because my bookstore is doing better than your store because I actually know how to run a business. Right. But that's not my, you know what I mean? But that's not my fault. You don't know how to market. You don't know how to manage your persona. Like you said, you don't know, get in the room with the right people. We don't always do quality. And so it's not a beat down, but it's a learned lesson.
Yes,
it's a learned lesson. And even when we do our markets, and the black markets are wonderful, you got to have a business outside of that market fair. You got to have a business outside of that flea market, outside of that one event where 9 people selling Avon to each other. It's like, there's only so much paparazzi and Mary Kay and car washes and barbecues and haircuts in the world. You know, there's more to do. And somebody did ask, but you already answered it, but I want to make sure they know. Terrill, you do entertainment, you do real estate. Any other businesses you want us to know about, you ain't got to tell us all your business. Nobody ever tells everything. But, you know, but I think Rosalind asked, you know, what does Terrill do? And I don't know if people even understand what it means when you're in real estate. Can you just say real quick just what it means in a basic, real basic, like a third grader, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do commercial and residential real estate, and also real estate development as well. So as far as from a real estate perspective, we buy and sell homes. We rent actual condos and apartments. And also we have strip plazas where corporations and businesses could lease. So we kind of have different facets within, and also we have industrial as well. We have an industrial building as well. So that's basically what it is in real estate. So, and real estate really came in because of COVID. I mean, I've always was in real estate for about 4 years, but then we pivoted and really started focus on real estate. And I think that's, you know, as far as a business person, it's always about figuring out the next thing, you know, planning 6 months down the road, 12 months, 24 months, things of that nature. So, you know, when a lot of times, you know, in a business, you said it earlier with a victim mentality. When something happens in your business, you have to be willing to pivot at any time, at any juncture. And I feel like a lot of times, and this is me, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but if I've been selling a product and I've been selling it for 10 years and it hasn't taken off yet, then something is not right with that product.
Right.
And so, and it's not saying that product isn't good, it's something not working. And a lot of times people in our community don't want to tell the truth. Where a lot of people come to me and say, oh, you're trying to put me down. Where with me, we've been lied to for so long. Where to me, I'm actually doing you a service. All these people are doing a disservice.
Somebody need to tell you your food is nasty. Somebody need to tell you your food is nasty. Don't nobody want your dry ribs. It's not good.
Seriously.
I mean, we be buying from people and throwing it away when we go home.
Your hem keep on coming out my pants.
My pants don't fit. I got that Theo Huxtable shirt on, one sleeve longer than the other.
Listen, we gotta bring Big Mike in, but real quick, Terrill. You know, you have a business with is it in Poland or Canfield? Which one is
it? It's in Canfield. I'm based in Canfield, correct.
Canfield. Now, that's very African American in Canfield is like, you know, that's serious. Have you had to deal with any racism, and how do you deal with that? Has there been any racism? And I mean, I see you bump heads with all kinds, and I mean, I know you're doing a phenomenal job, but have you dealt with any of that?
No, actually, the exact opposite. And I know this sounds funny, but I've actually gotten more welcome and more support from Canfield than I did Youngstown, and I'm just going to leave it as that.
Wow.
It's really sad that, you know, I'm saying that, but in reality, from a standpoint of business, as a standpoint of people being welcomed, the first day I was there, city council came, the mayor came, administration came to my building and said, Terrill, how can we support you? Wow. On my first day. So, I mean, and then, you know, it's wild that you get that type of support from a community, and they're welcoming, and they want ideas, and they want different things, and they want to be progressive. And so, you know, from my perspective, I think it was one of the best moves I've ever made was, you know, moving my business there. So praise the Lord.
You know, Terrill, like you said, it's the opposite. And let's just be real here. That might be the reason, is that they were eager to show that they would do business with a Black business owner, and sure, you might be the first or one of the first. Yeah. And sometimes everybody has an interest, and it's just your job to take advantage of the interest. Somebody's got to be first. Somebody's got to be the Jackie Robinson or whatever. And so somebody might say, yeah, they just letting him be the token or the one or what. Well, hey, somebody made you dipped your toe in the water. You went where other people have said maybe that's not for us, and they might not be wrong. And you know what? Maybe it's not for them, but it was for you. Absolutely. And there are some people who wouldn't operate well in certain spaces. Maybe they wouldn't mesh well with certain people, or don't know how to kind of engage the culture. And it matters that there are spaces that are for us. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are always new frontiers. There are always new spaces that we haven't been in. And instead of hating and saying, oh, he left the city, which of course, like you said, sometimes the support is there. And for whatever reason it's there. And let's be honest, when you have a talent and a gift and drive and passion ideas, people want to feed off that. And it's your job to make sure it's a mutual arrangement where you're not just getting bitten off of and used, but you are upgrading yourself in the process. Say, hey, that's what business is. And that's so much about what you said, Terrill. People want to get, but don't want to give up. You got to remember, when you're doing business, it's a constant negotiation. Everybody's getting something.
It's give and take.
It's your job to get yours. Everybody's getting something. You sitting here act like you're supposed to sign a contract with somebody, give you $1 million, and you just walk away with the money, and you don't even do nothing. Like, everybody's supposed to get something. Everybody wants something. It's your job to make sure that you get your piece, and that it's worth it to you, and it's going to better your position where you're trying to be at. So I love it. Pastor Jeff, I'm going to let you have last word, because we did a lot of hopping, then I'm going to do the ad.
I'm just going to say, everybody on Facebook, y'all got to remember those 3 C's he talked about. Credit, that's more than 475, 7,600.
That's it.
Cash flow and collateral. Y'all got to get those.
Remember that. Hey, we need to send that to some pastors. We need to send that to some churches. Listen, stop saying the bank and the Lord ain't blessing you. And I'll tell you a quick story before I do the ad. When I worked for U.S. Bank, and they did me very well as a young man coming out of college, and I started working in the small business division at Akron and Cleveland, I was literally just the banking assistant to the real bankers. It was my job to do paperwork and then go out in the field and like take pictures and make sure like the buildings were still there. Like, you just make sure it's in good repair. You know, if they want trying to recollateralize, if they're trying to refinance, I just make sure everything's on the up and up. It's being used for its express purpose. Well, when Black churches or businesses would call, they would send me. And the reason they would send me, I didn't know jack squat. I barely even knew what papers I was telling these people to sign. But they sent me because they didn't take the businesses serious. And they most of the time were not wrong. I would walk into a Black church, a Black business. Okay, I need your business plan. I need your balance sheet. I need last 3 years income statements. And they would reach under the table and put out like a shoebox of receipts or something. And I'm dead serious, or like a binder, like they couldn't decipher, just random stuff. And I'm like, nah, you're supposed to have like this ready, set in a folder. But you know what? Watching that, when my father got ready to build a church, I knew what to have when we went to the bank to get a loan. And even if you have to take And let's just be honest, you don't lie, but you catch up with record keeping. And you do the best you can. Now, you shouldn't do this the rest of your life, but when you're getting started, you do the best you can to make sure you estimate what my income was. You find those receipts, and then you put them in a formal, and then you learn how to continue properly.
Right.
And you're documenting everything, but you got to start somewhere. And a lot of people aren't doing that, and they never get to that next level and get to the financing and the help. And once you get in that world, if you do the right things, you can keep turning that over and over and over. You file your taxes right. You got a CPA. And so many people don't get there, so they don't get those benefits. And even I'm guilty. I should have been claiming stuff, mileage and office supply. And I'm just spending, and should have been started Todd Johnson LLC for all the work I do.
Yes, absolutely.
You have benefits from doing business right. There are benefits. But like you said about the PPP, there's dangers in doing it wrong, because sooner or later the IRS will knock on your door and say, what's up with all these Miami trips, dog? What's up with that? So, hey, let me hit this ad and bring in Big Mike, our last sponsor. We don't have a graphic, but we do want to shout out from the Phillips Care family of businesses, Phillips Care Training, the proud new owners. They're not even new anymore. They're practically the legacy owners of High Street Fitness at 277 South High Street in Cortland. Another example of Black-owned and minority businesses going into new spaces, because we joke about we ain't gonna be in Cortland, we're not gonna do. Somebody is, and somebody's making money and making it happen. So that's our man Mike Phillips doing it. Y'all all know Mike. If you're trying to get fit and trying to get right, he's gonna make it happen. He's gonna kill you in the process, but you will look good. I mean, he's gonna kill you. He's gonna have you running around in trash bags and pushing boulders up hills. And
trust me, I've been to emergency because of him.
Hey, he just get the pit bulls out and put some meat on you and make you run around the track while they chase you. But check out High Street Fitness. Look them up on Facebook at High Street Fitness, or call 330-984-7632 and ask for Mike and tell him Pastor Todd from Religiously Incorrect sent you. Big Mike, come on in and wrap the show up with us.
Come on in the room.
Oh, Terrill, my man. Woo, you done dropped so many jewels tonight, man.
Did he?
Man, my goodness. And your passion, man. You can see that you love what you do, man. The passion is there. It's real good to see that. One of the things that stood out that you said was that, if you want fish, you have to go to the pond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like I tell people all the time, if it's something you want to do, you need to be in that environment.
Amen.
If you want to be a musician, you need to be around musicians. If
Amen.
you want to be a mechanic, you need to be around mechanics. I mean, whatever it is, something about that camaraderie. You push each other, you keep each other going.
Amen.
I consider myself a creative, and I love being around creative people. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate you, man. We definitely gonna have you back. Definitely gonna have you back, man. A great show.
Hey, Terrill, happy Father's Day, man, to you.
I'm a dog dad.
No. You didn't see Ashley's announcement. She just put an announcement on Facebook. You didn't see it?
No, she didn't.
No.
I was about to say, I'm looking like, look at that.
No, she didn't.
It's exclusive. We're exclusive.
He said, I ain't pulling no Stanford. Stanford. He's a dog dad for now, and you enjoy that dog dad because it's a lot easier than what we dealing with, bro.
All right, real quick. Growing up Wesley throughout my life, I've noticed that successful people don't mind helping other people be successful.
Amen.
So, Terrill, what is some of the best advice you've ever gotten from a successful person?
One of the best advice, you know what? Well, this is what he said to me, and he only yelled at me one time, and this is what he yelled at me because it's my greatest mentor I had, and I was going to get something done, and then he said to me, and it's crazy because do you know who's on the board? Because I'm going to a bank, and I'm on to launch my business, and it was one of my first times going there, and at the time I had no idea who goes and research bank boards. I know I didn't. Then he said, well, who's the president? I had no idea. Who's the vice president? I have no idea. So he said to me, just like this, he says that, are you a decision maker or are you an order taker? That's what he said to me. And he says, why are you talking to order takers? If you're a decision maker in your business, you need to be talking to the decision maker. So when I went into the bank and I'm talking to the loan officer, he then takes it to the decision maker. But I'm the decision maker in my business. So what I'm sharing with you guys, you know, that was the best thing what he said to me. He said, you have order takers and decision makers. You need to make sure you're speaking with the decision maker.
With the decision makers.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, now, you know, I do all my research. Like, who do I need to be talking to at this business? Who do I need to be talking to? And it's so crazy that when I call on a business, because everybody has like border, like they have like those people that, gatekeepers, right?
The gatekeepers, right.
What's so crazy, if you call and say, hey, can I talk to the CEO? They're like, no, like, but if you call and say, I want to talk to Joe Smith, if you want to talk to that person's name, you act like they know, like you know them.
There. You're right.
But they're like, oh, I'll put you right through. And it's so crazy. I never met this person in my life, but just because I knew their name, I was able to talk to them.
That easy. Wow.
Right.
That's good.
Man, I'm calling Jeff Bezos tomorrow. I'm calling Amazon customer service. I want to talk to Jeff. Hey, tell Jeff it's Todd. Hey, we went to the Ohio State game with Corey Stringer's father one time when I was young, and we was like Elias's age. And if you ever knew Corey's father, Jimmy, funniest cat in the world, funniest dude in the world. He had this waitress going for about 10 minutes at Bob Evans. Talk about tell Bob I'm here. He's like, tell Bob I'm here. Bob, tell him if you don't tell him Jimmy here, he's gonna be some problems. You might lose your job if you don't tell him I'm here. She was so adamant, she had no idea. She cracked me up.
That is funny. That's all I have, fellas. That's all I have.
Well, it has been a great deal of wisdom. Terrill, you already know, man. I mean, it's brothers to the end, man. I mean, you've become one. Reverend Simon introduced us.
Yes,
and you know, Reverend Simon's become like a pops to me when I first got the second, and we were still going strong with the youth choir. Terrill was getting ready to put on the first 2DE gospel concert, and Reverend Simon was like, well, I know this guy, and he just called me on a Sunday afternoon. I never forget, I was on Miller Street at Grandma's house, and I'm like, oh, my moderator's calling. You know, he's the one that got me into church. I gotta make sure I answer this. And he was like, we're having this gospel fest. We want your choir to come. And I think it was Ty Tribbett the first year, right?
Yeah, Ty Tribbett was the first year. Yeah.
And I mean, from then on, man. And then this cat, Terrill, just put me to work. He's like, all right, you the stage manager. All right, make sure these drums are set up right. Do sound check. He just gave me a Too Deep shirt, and I was like his employee. I'm like, what in the world? How did this happen? Hey, Jeff, when am I getting a W-2? Like, when am I getting a W-2 for this? But not traveling. We went down to NASAP, which is for the HBCUs. You want to watch a guy work a room. You want to watch a guy make sure he gets his card in everybody's hand. I'm the guy that people usually chase because I'm George Johnson's son. You want to talk about chasing somebody around and making sure you keep up. This cat was in every university president's face, every student council president's face, every decision maker's face. I'm like, dude, I'm tired, bro. I need to go back to the hotel and just lay down. But the grind, the success has come honestly. And I'm saying brother to brother, I'm so very proud of you. And you have earned the right. And I wish you many years of success. And I want Black brothers and sisters, just like we see in the church space, don't hate, appreciate, and learn everything you can, because we're all growing together. But there are some people that God has blessed and favored. So seriously, we're not helping each other by fighting each other. We might as well learn from each other. Right. And if you can't work in that space, then go do your own thing and keep the positivity flowing. And so I just love it, Pastor Jeff. I want to give you the last word,
this has been phenomenal, man. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. All that you do, we're going to continue to support, continue to pray. If nothing else, man, and just let you know, man, we love you, what you're doing out there, man. Keep up the good work, man. God bless you. Much love, man.
Can we get Gospel Fest for Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion? Because I think that'll sell. I think that'll sell, Doc. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. Make it happen. Make it happen.
And I really appreciate you guys for the opportunity to come in on the show, and I appreciate everything you guys do. And I love that you're bringing, two pastors, and you guys come together. And it's not all about church all the time, because a lot of time that's really why I started the Gospel Fest, is that to show that you can still be in Christ and have fun. Fun Correct. Is not like a lot of people think fun's worldly. Like, you can still be a Christian and have fun.
Absolutely.
So I love seeing this, and I've been cracking up the whole time, and it's truly been a blessing. You guys blessed me tonight. Thank you so much.
Man, appreciate it, man. We'll send you a T-shirt, man, so you can rock it, and
absolutely.
And we wish you great success. Mike,
what size T-shirt? What size T-shirt you want, bro?
A large. I wear a large.
Okay.
I was a 2X at one point, but now I'm a large.
Hey, you doing it, bro. You doing it. You doing it.
I'm working hard at it. Thank you guys so much. Seriously. I look forward to you guys, and much success to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Stay on. We're going to hit the theme music. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to follow us on Religiously Incorrect Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. We love YouTube views, YouTube followers. Go to our website, order some merch. Make sure you support our sponsors. Tune in next week for another great episode. We can't wait to see you again.
Every Sunday night, 9 p.m.
Every
Sunday night service. Peace, y'all. See you next week.
Stay on, guys, for a second.